Now, the creator, CineRanter, made this great response video to Rob Ager, responding to Rob Ager's awful Godfather video, which he tore Rob Ager a new one. And Rob Ager is such a man of low quality. Instead of hanging his head and admitting defeat, what's he done? He turns around and doubles down and makes this cringy video doubling down on his mistakes. And look, he's even got that stupid smile on his face. He may as well have put a laughing emoji. That's how cringy it is. Now, CineRanter, you haven't responded to this guy yet. Maybe you won't. I'm hoping you do. But in case you don't, I'm going to respond to him. Because Rob Ager, this guy is anti-male. So as a men's rights activist, I take offense when guys who are anti-male make these disgusting videos. And by the way, in this video, this guy lacks integrity so much, he tries to dox you, right? Now, CineRanter, I want you to take note. You mentioned that Rob Ager is like an old man shouting at the clouds. I'm going to prove to you that what you said was 100% correct. Now, listen to what he says concerning the character Twoface.
By the desire for revenge. His coin-tossing philosophy is interesting, though it was already done in the movie No Country for Old Men the year before Dark Knight was released. Very different styles of movie, but there is some thematic overlap in terms of how good and bad guys perceive themselves and each
other. Now, did you hear that? CineRanter, do you know how long, the character of Two-Face has been around? Since 1942. He's been flipping coins for 85 years. But since Rob Ager has said he doesn't like superhero movies, supposedly he doesn't like superhero movies. So what is he going to do? He's going to turn around and try to give the credit to No Country for Old Men, to doing it first. Now, even if he's not into comic books, how do you explain the fact that they made this character in Batman Forever back in 1995, 30 years ago? So it's No Country for Old Men that is stealing the concept. And actually, I don't consider it stealing. Just because someone does something similar doesn't mean they're stealing. But Rob Ager, he likes to claim that they're stealing, right? Once something is done, it can't be done again. Even though that's what goes on in films on the regular, right? But the fact that he would say this, make this claim. Now, let's see what else we got to show. Now, Rob Ager, like I said, here's mine. Videos here. Again, too blind to see misandry. CineRanter, do you know he claimed that the Joker film, the first one, with Joaquin Phoenix, was a ripoff of, it was ripping off Taxi Driver and King of Comedy, which it wasn't at all. There's totally different premises in those films. Totally. So again, what he does, since he doesn't like superhero movies, he tries to claim that they're unoriginal. Now, let me show you this before we get into his, slander of you, right? And his doxing of you, or his attempted doxing. Let's get into, this guy who doesn't like superhero movies. He certainly seems to like superhero movies. The Predator. He really likes The Predator. Let's hear this. If it'll come on. Come on. Number 3, tough guys finish first. Right. Ager, by the way, CineRanter, he was making claims like, you really glorify these tough guys in the mafia movies. But he certainly is in love with the tough guys and the action heroes, in the action hero flicks. The illusion of simplicity. There's no illusion here.
A team of elite soldiers going
There's no illusion here. This is a simple action movie. There's no deeper analysis to this.
on a rescue mission.
See, if he likes it, then there's deep analysis. There's more going on here. If you like it and he doesn't, well, you're just a child, right?
In the jungle of a fictional country.
He's claimed that guys who are into superhero movies are toddlers. Not even like adolescents, toddlers. But here, this grown-ass toddler is going to wax poetic about this simple action flick.
In Central America. During the course of their mission, an alien hunts and kills them one by one until there's one man left who defeats and kills the alien. The end. It's not very often that a movie worthy of detailed critical study can be summed up so simply in terms of its plot structure, but
See, this is worthy. This is worthy to analyze.
Predator is one of those films. That simplicity plus a number of other factors give the illusion of a film lacking artistic and intellectual depth. There's the fact that it's a guns-blazing action movie with a level of violence and gore verging on horror. Action and horror are two genres that often churn out brain-dead fodder and have a reputation for doing so. It stars Arnold Schwarzenegger, who, while being a...
By the way, he's going to brag up Arnold Schwarzenegger's acting in this video. Schwarzenegger cannot act his way out of a wet paper bag. He never could. He was brought in for his muscle and his looks, and he became popular. He acts just well enough that they're willing to put him on screen.
megastar in terms of box office success is severely limited in his acting.
Now, he talks about acting. Do you see that arm? I know that Marines can get muscular, but not to this point. What we just saw there is, like He-Man of the universe level of musculature. How is this not a superhero movie?
Changed by his superhuman physique and his rigid
There you go. Like that's what you would see on Skeletor or He-Man, not on a Marine.
There's the visually simplistic jungle setting. Apart from the alien and soldiers, there's not a great deal to look at in the film, just a sea of green foliage. And even the base plot itself lacks originality. The group of people trapped...
There you go. It lacks originality, exactly. So, but it's okay, right? Because Rob Ager likes it. And it can't be simple because he's such a special little guy. He's so important, right? That he wouldn't be into like simplistic films, right? Not like us toddlers who are into the superheroes, even though this is a superhero film.
The monster that hunts them down one at a time structure had already been done in lots of other movies. It just happens to have the unusual setting of a jungle in Predator. Regardless of the multiple factors suggesting a movie of extremely limited artistic and intellectual scope, Predator has a huge fan base. And
well, there you go. He's got a huge fan base, right? So if you have a huge fan base for Batman, they're a bunch of toddlers. But, this has to have depth, right? It can't just be a slop that guys love, right? He likes it, therefore it has to have depth. Now, I want to point out, let's see, I've got it time stamped. There we are, 11:03. This shows you that this is basically a superhero movie because he does superhero feats of strength. Here we go right here.
It's the same mental process that leads him later to make decisions like setting a camouflage homemade trap for the alien and making the most of available natural resources in the end battle scene.
There you go. He's lifting a car by himself. That's not Superman, right? And he's waxing poetic at how good this guy is, how clever he is, and he gets the bad guys, right?
Plus, it's an opportunity to convey how his raw physical strength can be advantageous.
See? Bringing muscles to a gunfight. Now, 1610, he admits, Rob, that is, that it doesn't matter that the movie's unrealistic. 1610, let's get there, guys. Where are we here? 1610, right here.
And the biggest waste of ammunition comes in the scene where Mac takes control of the minigun. They must have blown at least half their collective ammo in a single minute here. They're also supposed to be tailed by incoming guerrillas less than a mile away, so surely this big firepower display would thoroughly announce their position. Despite this, Dutch opts to set up camp nearby.
Sergeant! Yes, sir. I want a defensive position above that ridge. Mind with everything we've got.
But all of that stuff doesn't matter because this scene establishes important general points about the relationship between the soldiers and the alien.
See, all this doesn't matter. All the plot holes don't matter. CineRanter, did you hear that? The plot holes don't matter because it sets up something that's important in this action film. This brain-dead action film. Hey, I like The Predator because I don't mind the simplicity. Rob loves simplicity too, but he doesn't want people to think he likes simplicity. So it's going to be all this hidden meaning and complexity to it, which there isn't. So now that we've set the stage, now you know what you're up against, CineRanter. Where are we? Let's get in to this child fighting back. Oh, by the way, Rob Ager is very, very much into like gaining the status, and he gets angry if other guys gain anything out of it. This is the kind of resource hoarding, resentful right-wing man he is. Thought I'd let you know. But anyway, where are you, Rob? Yeah, here we are. Let's play this.
Hey folks, Rob Ager here, hope you're all well. A couple of weeks ago, a fellow YouTuber who I've never heard of before and I've never said anything about launched a scathing half-hour attack on me.
You see that? I've never heard of before, and I've never said anything about. Ager, you don't have to hear about someone for them to turn around and look at what you've said and make a video about it. We don't have to know each other. I don't know you personally either. Well, I know that you're anti-male,
right? In response to a video that I'd done recently. So here's some quotes from his video. He said that I have borderline schizophrenic delusions. He said,
even though I've seen his video several times, I can't remember if he actually said you are schizophrenic. I'll have to relook at that.
That I go off on unhinged paranoid tangents. He said I have a pretentious attitude, that I'm pompous, arrogant, and condescending.
Those are all true. Actually, he's got you down pat, Ager.
He called me an old man yelling at clouds.
I think he said something like you were like that. I could be wrong. But I think I've proven that what he said was accurate.
He said I engage in asinine autistic nitpicking. He said there's no mentally well human being who would say a certain thing I said.
Why can't you repeat it? Why can't you repeat it? If it was so bad you can't repeat it, maybe you shouldn't have said it in the first place.
He said that I engage in lots of nitpicking and leaps of logic. He said that I have bitterness and resentment. He said I'm a rage baiter.
Well, you do have bitterness and resentment. I think I can show that on your own channel. Rant on influence jacking, right? Yeah, you did the hard work. Everyone should run to you and give you money. But other guys, they're looking at it and say, hey, maybe Rob here is supposedly, the man. Maybe I'll repeat what he's doing. And you're resentful over that, right? Anyway. back to this.
He said that my opinion is literally the opinion a teenager would have. He said,
Well, you are immature. Like he did a fair takedown. And you know something? CineRanter, this guy's going to try and dox you. No, Rob, I admit I would dox feminists because if I could, because they are my class enemy. This guy is not your class enemy. He just made a response video to you disagreeing with you. You have zero reason to try and dox him. Zero.
I'm either a contrarian, an attention seeker, or completely off my rocker. He said I'm lame, and he said I'm just wrong. All of that from somebody who I've never met, never said anything about before. No.
Why does he have to have met you? Or you attacked him first? He's not even attacking you necessarily on personally. Actually, I suppose he did say things like that. So I'll give you that. But still, he doesn't have to know you, Ager. He doesn't have to actually have done anything like involved himself with you in the past to make a video. The first response video I ever made to you, I've never met you or interacted with you. Right? This is how it works on YouTube.
I must have done something really, really bad, really naughty in order to provoke.
No, you just made a bad take and he tore you apart, embarrassed you. How self-important. Guys, you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me when I watch those police videos where the cops grab the drunk woman who's been driving drunk and endangering people on the streets. They take her out of the car and she says, I don't feel safe around you. I don't know you personally. Right? It's this kind of logic. Right?
This kind of response from a complete stranger. And what did I do? I made a video saying that The Godfather is a decent movie, but massively overrated. That's it. And this
No, it isn't that it. He said you made leaps of logic. Right?
I took it so personally that you would think that by criticizing the Godfather movie, I had criticized him. Hence how.
Hold it. That's a leap in logic right there. Who are you to say that that's what he thinks? There's no evidence to say that. He just has to love the Godfather himself. And therefore, you're attacking something he loves. Why does it have to be a personal attack against him?
How personal his response has been. Now, this guy's got about 195,000 subscribers, which is.
Exactly. That's why you're responding, right? This is why you're responding. You're so concerned about building up status and keeping it to yourself, hoarding it, right? You're so concerned about that, right? And this guy, he can damage that because he's got a good amount of like subscribers. He's not like me. When I make videos, you just ignore it because I have less than 3,000 subs. This guy can and has done some damage. Matter of fact, after his video, I said to myself, I will not watch a Rob Ager video ever again. This guy is a bum. He can't be trusted in his opinions. So that's why you're doing this scurry work.
Pretty good. And I can understand how, at a superficial glance, maybe some of his own subscribers or some other Godfather fans who got really wound up about my original video, or some people who've never heard of his channel or mine, they might see his video and superficially find it believable. But I will prove to you.
No. He doesn't have to. CineRanter, you don't have to. At the very beginning of my video, I proved that you are biased and you are not willing to be fair with films. You tried to claim that what Twoface does for 85 years was done first in No Country for Old Men. You claim that. It's 100% false. There's no excuse for you being wrong about this.
In this video that he's engaged in a lot of outright lying, probably lying to both himself and his audience.
This is 100% projection.
He's also engaged in a lot of hypocritical projection.
There you go. What he's saying to you, CineRanter, is what he's doing.
He accuses me of doing things that he does himself. And he's made a lot of mistakes as well. He's got a lot of facts completely wrong. Now,
Well, I certainly proved that on you, and so did he.
if I'm going to go head to head with somebody, I like to know exactly who they really are, because when you find out who a person really is and what their circumstances are and what other kind of things they've been doing and what kinds of things they say publicly, the motives become a lot more clear.
I do agree with this. As a men's rights activist, I want to know, for example, you, Ager, right? I want to know if you hold anti-male opinions, which you do. Right.
Which is the case with this guy as well. So I'm going to reveal exactly who this guy actually is.
Because we want to know if someone's an honest actor, if they're simply a neutral observer, or if they got a stake in the, if they have a stake in this, right? A personal one.
And where he's from in a minute. But first of all, let's just have a look at what he's made public. So he calls his channel CineRanter, which is ironic, being that he's accused me of rage baiting and so on, and yet he refers to himself by his channel name as a ranter. And the subject matter of his channel is that he doesn't
really do a lot of ranting. I've watched a lot of his videos, dude. He doesn't rant. He may call himself a CineRanter, but he doesn't rant in his videos. I can honestly say that.
Pretty basic film studies of classic gangster movies and classic gangster TV shows. That's it.
Basic. I found his takes very in depth. Very in depth.
His main thing. He delves into some other subjects here and there, but his main forte is exploring gangster media. Now, I've got my own theory about why he explores gangster stuff and why he has a particular reverence for the Godfather film, but we'll come back to that much later towards the end of the video. So I want to tell you exactly who this guy is.
Who cares? He likes it, dude, right? Well, his view, CineRanter, is he's going to claim that you want to be these tough guys. This guy wants to be one of these tough guys. The way he oozes all over guys like Schwarzenegger. Again, this guy's 100% projection.
Okay, so on his channel, he virtually never seems to show his face. I didn't find any examples on his main channel of him showing his face, but he's got a lot of videos, so maybe there are some there. But
he doesn't have to. Now, I've got to confess, I've said, hey, why don't you show your face to guys who've said things, responded to my videos, right? Now, that's wrong of me to do. You know why? Because this is how YouTube is. Some people show their faces, others don't.
Generally not. And if he introduces a new video, he doesn't come on and say, hey, it's me here, and say his actual name, which I typically do.
Well, he doesn't have to.
And if you look at the description of his channel, there's no information about exactly who he is, where he's from. Now, being anonymous as a YouTuber in itself isn't a big problem.
There you go, you admitted it.
But for a YouTuber with nearly 200,000 subscribers to publicly attack another YouTuber whose face and name is known.
Oh, I see. So if he turns around and disagrees with you and gets on your case, gets you worked up, now he's got to show who he is so you can go after him. He doesn't. I know you might think that's unfair, but life's unfair.
And to maintain anonymity of their own identity while launching that attack, to me, that is...
He tore down your response. Your response was pathetic. He's allowed to do it. He doesn't have to dox himself to say what he says.
Cowardly. But nevertheless, it took me about 2 minutes to discover exactly who this guy is.
There you go, everyone. CineRanter, this is what kind of lowlife Rob Ager is. He's trying to dox you, right? He's angry that you humiliated him. Let's face it. He's not going to recover from this. I'm never going to watch one of his stupid videos ever again. And it's probably going to be true for a lot of other guys who might sub to him. And so what's he doing? He's trying to dox you.
I simply searched for his channel name on the Companies House website here in Britain where all the businesses are registered, and bam, it came up CineRanter Limited. Turns out this guy is from Luton and his name is Mohammed Shahzad Alam. And I'm pretty sure this is the guy.
Wow, that's disgusting. So when you were born and where you live, Ager, you're disgusting. You should be booted off YouTube.
Because in his own videos, his early videos, where he uses his real accent, it's a Luton accent. You know, that matches up with what we see on the Company's House. And the name of his channel matches up with the company name on Company's House. I didn't find any other CineRanter references anywhere online. I don't think there's any other CineRanter businesses going on anywhere. Also, in the very first video on his main channel, it's a musical piece, and in the comments section of that video, somebody asks him, are you a Muslim? And he's like, yes, I'm a Muslim. And that's fine. I'm not objecting to him being a Muslim. I'm just saying this.
But you know, a lot of guys do hate Muslims, right? That's what you're leaving out, right? You know, in your country, Rob, your disgusting feminist shithole, right when you're men like you, they're always ranting against the Muslims. They're always ranting against the immigrants and telling lies about them and saying how they spike crime and attack their women.
Kind of matches up with his name on Company's House as well. And on the Company's House listing, it says that his type of business is video distribution. So I'm pretty sure that this is the guy. Now, there is an image of him.
I hope he's wrong, CineRanter, because you don't deserve to be doxxed by this cretin.
He doesn't completely hide his identity, but generally he doesn't show it. On his second channel, a channel called CineRanter Uncut, there is one of...
Is that you, CineRanter? You don't have to answer, because I'm not into doxing you. But this scumbag has shown your face, right?
My subscribers pointed me to, where he actually does show his face, but he still doesn't say his name. Even in that video, he just says, hey, it's CineRanter here. He doesn't say his name. So what information is available about him via his channels on YouTube seems to match up very strongly.
Tell me, Ager, how does this disprove what he said about you and your take on The Godfather? It doesn't. This is you just being a nasty, angry, lack of principles, lowlife, going after this man. And yes, I am attacking you personally. And the reason I'm doing it is because I can see exactly what you are. I know what you are.
With what we see on the Company's House listing, so I'm pretty sure this is him. Mohammed Shahzad Alam. So I'm going to call him Shazza for brevity. I don't want to just call him Mohammed. I mean, there's so many people called Mohammed. I'm just going to nickname him Shazza. Kind of a cool nickname. If I had that nickname, I wouldn't mind it. So he was born in 1995, which makes him approximately 31 years old, which is about 21 years younger than I am. I'm 52. And the reason I mention his age is because this fits with the very ageist comments he makes about me in his video, and we'll come back to that later.
No, I'm not going to bother with the phony accent because it doesn't matter if you use phony accent. A lot of people use AI voices. So
I can tell.
What's next? Case study in denial.
So I will
Wow. Are you going to be talking about yourself, Ager?
address his personal attacks against me at the end of this video. But first, I'm just going to present a select list of lies, contradictions and mistakes in his attempted debunk of my take on The Godfather. Because I think what we've got here is a very clear example of what I talked about in my original Godfather video, that there are some people who've got this unbelievably intense reverence for the first Godfather film where they think it's like this perfect
Now, this is what I agree with Iger. There are people like this. Godfather can do no wrong. But so what? You said it was overrated, and this guy pointed out that you're not an honest person. Look, what I point out this for? Where are you here? Why'd I talk about Predator and the Dark Knight movies? I showed you you're not an honest person. Ager, I showed you you're not honest. That's why when I heard his video takedown of you, I said, yeah, this guy has this guy right. Groupthink. Okay, let's hear
attacks.
this. Groupthink, he's such an individual, right?
I would expect a decent debunking of my criticism of The Godfather to talk about what important or insightful themes the Godfather film has. There are tons and tons of movies out there that have got great cinematography and acting. That is not enough to elevate this movie to the level that he's got it on, where it's not allowed to be criticised by anyone. So I got 28 minutes.
He didn't say he wasn't allowed to be criticized. In his opening of his video, he said he wanted to see what you had to say. And he found out what you had to say was bullshit. So it's not that he thinks that it shouldn't be critiqued. He said your critique was crap.
Into his video before he finally said something interesting about the film. He says that Carlo being made to admit.
Okay, now, the Family Guy, he might be right. Ager points out something. I don't know if Seth MacFarlane was making fun of the movie or if he was actually making fun of Peter Griffin, right? Because CineRanter says one thing, Ager says another. But I'm going to let you know that CineRanter could be simply wrong as opposed to lying, right? Because you look at my video, let's see, where is it the one? Here. Shoe on head. I made a mistake on this video. This young lady, she was single forever, and I assumed she still was. It turned out she got together with a guy and had a baby just 2 years ago. That was a mistake on my part. I was misinformed, right? And so, Rob, I suspect that if CineRanter turns out to be wrong about that he's probably misinformed as opposed to lying. Interpretation, logistics don't matter. Logistics don't matter, according to you. You said so in this movie, Ager. Let's get to you and see what you have to say about that.
The next one, and this is either a convenient lie or basic stupidity, is Shazza's claim that logistics don't matter regarding unseen events in the story. Well, if you look at his own channel, you'll find that many of his videos, in fact most of his most popular ones, those videos are about trying to explain the logistics of unseen events in various gangster films and TV shows. For example...
Yeah, but in that particular scene you're talking about, he says it doesn't matter. And I agree with him. He's talking about everyone. He's talking about how they got the horse's head in that guy's bed, right? They show it off screen. They don't say how it's done. It's not important. He says so. He's correct. CineRanter is correct when he says that. And again, Iger, he says it does, right after he says that it doesn't matter in The Predator. Let's continue with this horse shit.
Why the four rival families didn't retaliate against the Corleones after Michael had had the heads of those four families assassinated at the end of The Godfather. Somehow he'd managed to have them all successfully assassinated at the same time, even though the attempt on Vito's life early in the film failed. So CineRanter makes that 17-minute video, and yet he complains about me spending 15 minutes in my video outlining the ridiculous logistics regarding the horse's head scene.
No, it wasn't ridiculous. That's your opinion. That's your opinion. And other guys disagree with you. They don't think it's necessary. Let's see. Didn't watch live. Can't see good acting. Can't see good acting. Right? So Every one of these guys, these legends that were in this film, according to you, they weren't very good at acting. I've seen enough of it that I didn't see any bad acting, right? So the only reason you're saying that is you don't like the film. That's it. Because again, you tried to praise Arnold Schwarzenegger's acting, and he can't act his way out of a wet paper bag. People don't want to see Schwarzenegger for his acting. This is a brainless, fun-loving action flick. You have the right to say you like this kind of shit, Rob, but you're embarrassed. You're too good for that. So you have to try and say there's deeper meaning to it. What else we got? Ageist. Okay, let's get into this. I want to hear this.
Next up is CineRanter's Ageist bigotry.
See, oh, he's calling you names. You're triggered. But you aren't triggered. You're the one who's triggered, Rob. You're the one who's triggered. That's why you're making this bullshit double take, right? Double down.
So he says I'm an old man yelling at clouds. Well, I was actually born after the Godfather film was released. I'm only...
Who cares? You're 52. You're an old man. I recognize I'm an old man, Rob. I'm 60. I'm older than you. But I'm not one of those old people that turn around and say, 85, that's the real old. 60s, that's young. No, I recognize we are old people.
52. It's not exactly old. I'm not grey or bald. I'm still fit and healthy.
So if you're not gray or bald, it doesn't count? And you have the same physique as me, and I'm out of shape. I'm out of shape, Rob. Look at those slumping shoulders. How are you in shape?
And I get lots of very positive correspondence from young people viewing my work. And so, at one point of the video...
Well, that might change, right? Since CineRanter tore you a new one.
Trying to dismiss my views as being that as an out-of-touch old man, and yet later on he complains that I'm expressing opinions that literally a teenager would express. That's his own words. And so Shazza, he's claiming that older people's opinions should be dismissed.
He didn't claim that, from what I heard. I bet he's not going to claim that about me, right? He just found that, look, older people do have bias against younger people. There's just no denying that. I see that in my age group all the time. He notices that. He has a right to.
And the teenagers' opinions should be dismissed as well. Isn't that very convenient, being that he's approximately 31 years old? What a pretentious prick. And assuming I was actually old, let's say I was like...
You are old. You're 52. 50s is old.
75 or 80 years old.
There you go, CineRanter. What'd I say? He's one of these old guys who say, I'm not old. 75, they're the real old people, right? When you're at the age that you got to point to someone who's at the end of their life cycle, you are old.
I was even 95 years old. So what? That doesn't dismiss my opinion.
No, but your opinion was shit. He tore it apart.
In fact, I actually find much older people to be really interesting to listen to because they've been around for longer than I have. They've seen more of life than I have.
Well, I'm older than you, aren't I? I bet you're not going to like my opinion.
I have in a lot of cases. They've lived through eras in human history that I never got to experience directly, and so I find their opinions really interesting to listen to.
Good. So my opinion is that I know guys my age tend to bust the balls of younger men. That's been my experience. And him pointing that out is just him being truthful.
They don't always come out with stuff that I agree with, but sometimes I learn something from older people, and sometimes I learn...
Rob, you're not incapable of learning, because I've made several videos talking to you, and you've proven not to be able to learn, because you're too much of a resentful, man-hating resource hoarder. pathetic. Let's see what else we got here. The paranoid lie. I don't think you're paranoid, to be honest. I think you're just dishonest. So it goes on about the bullet sponge, right? He got angry because you know something? Like I said, in Predator, you said all these guys, they emptied their bullets. It's all like crazy. They're knifing guys and killing guys instantly. In the fight, they didn't lose any of theirs and they killed all theirs. Yet it doesn't matter. In your own words, it doesn't matter, right? But since you don't like The Godfather, all of a sudden it matters.
On The Godfather. Now we have Cinderfellas claim that Sonny's death is realistic. Now I criticised this in my original video, saying it was a rip-off of the ending of Bonnie and Clyde. And
well, there you go. It's more ripping off. Right? Doesn't matter how much time has passed or how often it does. Are you saying that you can't have another scene where multiple people shoot guns at an individual, Rob? Right? I mean, again, you admit that Predator, which you love, is full of cliches. But also, what more importantly, is you claimed that, again, Twoface was ripping off No Country for Old Men, which is a total lie. That it's not just ignorance. Again, because Batman Forever has been around for 30 years. So this is a total lie. So this is why he has the right, where is he, to ignore everything you said about this. This is a nitpick. You're saying it's unrealistic, right? Because you don't like The Godfather. The unrealistic, it's okay when it's something you like. And you see, I'm just going to, well, now I want to look at Lecter's escape too, right? Because he always doxing you, CineRanter, right? Anyway, let's hear this.
For me. Next, we have the Hannibal Lecter mistake. Now, I was saying in my video that the lack of logistical information about how the horse's head was severed and put into the guy's bed was kind of silly. It kind of ruined the scene because I'm asking myself, well, how the hell did they manage to do that? And I gave as a comparative example the movie Silence of the Lambs, where I said that Lecter escaping from prison, we get to see some logistics of how that happens. We get
some, but not all. And CineRanter smartly called you out on that.
To see how he escapes, and that this works much better than having a scene where they simply say, oh, Lecter escaped, and they don't show anything about how he did it. You don't have to show all of it. I was saying that showing at least some of the logistics is better, and especially if those logistics reveal just how clever the criminal is. And that worked in Silence of the Lambs because Lecter...
Actually, this wasn't that clever. It was audacious. Because the guards being fooled by that wasn't guaranteed.
Had this genius plan of cutting some of the face off one of the guards, placing it on his own, wearing his uniform.
Now look what's going on here. From the camera angle, where we view, it's fairly far away. This guy is right up on this guy. Does he know him personally? I don't know. If he does, I mean, the guy would have a different physique probably. But the point is, he's right on top of him. Right? It would be, it's taking a risk that this guy wouldn't notice that this face is fake. So it's very audacious. It's not just clever, because there's no guarantee. Lecter took a risk. What's he going to do? What's his genius plan if this guy noticed it was fake?
Uniform and pretending to be that injured guard so that the other guards would carry him out of the building and take him to an ambulance, and actually he wouldn't even need to actually escape. The guards would actually take him out of there, which is what he wanted. And Cinderella's response to this issue in his attempted debunk was to say that
He didn't attempt, he did debunk you, dude.
They wouldn't be able to cut the skin off the guy's face with a dinner knife. Well, actually, Hannibal Lecter didn't use a dinner knife. He actually used a sharp switchblade, which was dropped by one.
But he also talked about the time. How much time did he have? How did he put this guy up all by himself? He hung him up, right, by the cage.
Of the guards. Guard tried to pull out a switchblade that he could use against Lecter, but he got his head beaten in by Lecter anyway. And then Lecter takes that particular knife off the floor. We actually see him pick it up, and that's what he uses to cut the skin off the other guard's face. Now, that's just a simple mistake on CineRanter's part. He obviously just missed that in the Silence of the Lambs movie. But if I was to make a mistake like that, and I did make one or two, he would claim that, oh, this is terrible. This shows just how ridiculous this guy is and doesn't know what he's talking about. Well, if that's the case, then I can use that same argument against you regarding this dinner knife claim. However, I will make an argument in CineRanter's favour here. How would Hannibal Lecter know that the guard had the pocket knife? It's a very convenient element of the scene that allows Lecter to
There you go. There you go. Okay.
skin the face off a character. But at least there was some writing effort that made into it. They didn't just...
See, the thing is, though, Ager, since they didn't show anything about the Godfather scene, how he got the horse's head in there, there's nothing to critique, actually. Right? When you show something, you have to be 100% correct. When it's off screen and there's nothing there, it's hard to tear it down, isn't it?
give Lecter a magic wand so that he could just escape from prison with no logistical explanation. They actually showed some logistics of how he did it. The logistics may not be totally realistic, but at least they're there, and at least they establish how intelligent...
By the way, CineRanter, you would, showing some kind of admiration for the mafia figures. That's a no-no. But this guy, he really loves Hannibal Lecter. He really likes bragging this guy up. I've seen his analysis involving Silence of the Lamb, right?
Resourceful Lecter can be.
He admires Hannibal Lecter.
Next up, we have another one regarding the Silence of the Lambs example. So CineRanter makes a very rare, decent point in his video.
Again, he's not triggered. You are. Status hoarder.
That Lecter would not have been able to prop up one of the guards against the bars high up like this. I agree on this point.
Well, there you go. And since you like Silence of the Lambs, you're letting it slide. But actually, you don't like, again, the mafia film, right? So therefore, them not showing anything, that shows the film is flawed, right? This is pathetic. This is pathetic. Shadows of plot, the who cares lie, the thing. Oh yeah, the thing he tries to say, oh, someone dropped the keys, so it's all... This is bullshit, by the way, everyone. Right? He likes the thing, so everything happening off screen is fine by him. Yeah. Bullet holes, no transformation. Now let's get into the end here. Oh, by the way, the Predator, he put it up there, with The Thing and Aliens. So he's putting this film, he likes this along with Predator, or I should say, with Aliens, or I should say Alien, and The Thing, which are much better films, which have far more depth to them. I just want you to know that, CineRanter. Now, we'll get to the very end of this.
Okay, so I was going to end this video with a fairly in-depth debunk of his personal attacks on me, but as I've recorded all of those points, I realised as I was going along that I've actually debunked a lot of his arguments against me personally. And
No, you didn't debunk them, Bob, because I exposed you for what you are. You're a complete hypocrite, and you project your behavior onto him.
the first place. But I will say a few more things about him. And one of them is
This anti-male cretin, by the way, CineRanter, he got into the psychology field. And I'll let you know the psychology field is very anti-male. Right.
that he could have got a pretty good podcast out of this if he'd have contacted me, because, you know, I've got a website, my details are available. He could have contacted me and said, Rob, you know, I disagree with you on The Godfather here, and I'd like.
See, this is it, dude. You see, this is more status hoarding CineRanter, right? Where is he? Like, rant on influencing jacking. So he's saying, I didn't get my cut. That's what he's saying. I didn't get my cut. You can't make progress on your channel doing a response to me without me getting something in return.
To get you on, and we'll do a little podcast type talk, and let's talk about the film. And I am going to hit back at you on most of your logic, but I'm interested in having this discussion. If he'd have done
So
that,
this guy who doxed you, CineRanter, he's going to pretend that he could have been a good friend of yours, right? If we just had a sit down talk.
we could have had a mature, respectful discussion about the film. I would have been very happy to do that.
Yeah, but you're an immature child, Ager. You call guys who watch superhero movies toddlers, and then you watch a superhero movie, Predator.
But instead he chose to go the personal attack route, and you know, the result for that is this video, which I think is going to be pretty embarrassing for the guy.
No, 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 no. You were embarrassed. And that's why you're scurrying like this.
So what's his real core problem? Well, I think basically we have
Well, your analysis was shit. That's what his problem was.
to assess why he's got this reverence for the Godfather
You're completely biased. You're not someone who has any principles or should be trusted with your opinion.
movie in the first place. And I actually think this gets right at the core problem of the movie. I think the core reason why a lot of people have this unbelievable reverence for the God fantasy film, and that is an appropriate title for it, is because the film provides a sort of elitist fantasy of being a highly respected, worshipped person who can do anything. You only have to give a few orders and everything is done.
I agree. It's very attractive to the average guy. But then Schwarzenegger, he ran, he rants poetic when it comes to guys like Schwarzenegger and Predator, right? Right. Or Hannibal Lecter himself, such a genius, right? He's a good teacher to Starling. Where are you?
You don't have to argue and debate with anyone. You just have to say your family name or say who you
Ager would love to be that too, right?
are, or just give people a pensive look and they go, oh my God, I don't want to mess with this person. I'll kiss your ass. I will kiss your hand. I'll bow down to you. I'll do exactly what you want. There's a lot of people in society who have fantasies about being a kind of a king who is in control of other people.
Yeah, well, like yourself, Ager, right? Now, I do agree. Like, I've heard so many guys go on about the Sopranos, right? And I can see what that is. They love the Sopranos. They think they're cool guys. They admire them, even though they're bums. But you're no different, Ager.
And we get that very clearly in The Godfather. Michael Corleone becomes the new Godfather at the end, and some people watch the movie and think that's
And come on, look, I love the Incredible Hulk. But what's the basis of that? You don't have to obey the rules. You can't control the Hulk, right? He becomes so strong, even the military can't take him down. So he goes where he wants and does what he wants. I'm willing to admit that.
absolutely great and wonderful. That's a highly respectable guy. That's a super intelligent, sophisticated guy and I would like to be like him. They basically view these kinds of mob bosses as being like royalty, and they have a fantasy, either consciously or unconsciously, of wanting to have that kind of power and control. And I suspect that Shazza here has got that particular reverence for The Godfather. He's made so many videos about this movie, and a lot of those videos about Michael Corleone. And the funny thing is that after he posted his video attacking me, it was maybe a few...
No, attacking your take on the film. That's what he attacked, really. But in his attack against that, of course, he's going to notice a lot of personal hangups you have.
days later or a week later that he posted a members only video.
Now, I'm not going to go any further than this, because Ager, you exposed yourself for what you are. You doxed this young man, or at least tried to. I can't guarantee that's actually him, and you say so yourself. You show you have lack of principles. You show that you are completely biased to the point of being unfair with your film analysis. This man gave you a major black eye. And if you lose subscribers over this, you deserve it. 100%. To be honest, I find you completely deplorable. So CineRanter, understand who this guy is and what he's about. I definitely do.